Now, almost exactly 1 year from when the right wing coup, backed by and controlled by the United States, overthrew the democratically elected leftist government of Bolivia, they have returned to power. And part of that return to power upon another popular vote is allowing the former President Evo Morales to return to the country, and he is expected to arrive on November 9th. Now, at the same time, the courts have now thrown out all the charges that were leveled against him by the former administration, who fabricated out of whole cloth all kinds of accusations of criminality, corruption, and etc., all of which were politically motivated, and pretty much all of them had no evidence even behind them whatsoever. Now, not only did the MAS, or the Movement Towards Socialism Party, win the election in what is essentially a landslide where the closest competitor wasn't even close at all, the Bolivian right wing have not taken this news very well. In fact, Luis Fernando Camacho, who received only 14% of the vote, began crying upon his defeat. That's right, the presidential candidate cried. The right-wing, pro-death squad, pro-U.S. genocidal maniac, in my opinion, he cried when he did not win. Now, not only have the courts thrown out the terrorism charges leveled against Evo Morales, but they have decided to charge the Anís government, the right-wing leader that came into power after overthrowing Morales. Now, what they've decided to do is place a number of charges against the coup government, including the notorious Arturo Murillo, who ordered the massacres of protesters in Sincata and Sacba. This includes mass killings that took place against indigenous protesters as well. Now, just before those events, Anís announced that the security service would be pre-exonerated of all crimes of what she called re-establishment of order. In other words, she had given a free hand to security forces and preemptively exempted them from any crime that they commit in order to restore order in the country. Anís took to Twitter to express her outrage of being charged. MAS is recovering its habit of prosecuting those who think differently. That is why it must be reminded that democracy is not only the rule of the majority, also it is the government adjusted to the law, and it is the government that respects freedom. Which is rather ironic coming from a right-wing coup controlled by the United States, because nothing says freedom like having your country controlled by an imperialist power, particularly the United States. And nothing says respect for rule of law like illegally becoming the government. Now, Bolivia's president-elect Luis said on Monday proposed to resume the relations with Venezuela and Cuba, two countries with coup-born that the former coup government had severed ties with. These three countries had been in a very large major alliance because they are both the socialist-leaning bloc, or the majority of the socialist-leaning bloc in Latin America. So reestablishing those ties and reestablishing the trade between those countries and diplomatic support is actually very, very important. Now, the new president also leveled a warning to the OAS, that would be the Organization of American States, that their behavior towards Bolivia urged them to admit its participation in the coup and complicity in the massacre of hundreds of indigenous citizens that follow it. That's right, the OAS, the Organization of American States, the ones that are supposed to be the representatives of Latin America that are, answering to Washington, are now being compelled to admit their complicity in the crimes that were committed in Bolivia under the right-wing coup government. So not only is the coup now officially over and Evo Morales returning to his home as he rightfully should, there are now going to be criminal charges against those who committed crimes against the Bolivian people, whose only real crime was standing up to the United States and its imperialist interests. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.